Good day, everyone. I am Mary France Pirigadillo from BSE3P, the reporter for the Computer Mediated Communication. Let's define computer mediated communication. It is any form of communication between two or more individuals who interact and or influence each other via separate computers through the internet or a network connection using software. CMC does not include the methods by which two computers communicate, but rather how people communicate via computers. In short, computer mediated communication is a communication between people using computers and the internet. It's about how people talk through technology and not how the computers talk to each other. According to Metz 1992, it states that any communication mediated through the computer, and also Walter and Borgon of 1992 also state that computer mediated communication is a channel through which much of our business and social interaction takes place. It is the process by which people create, exchange, and perceive information using network telecommunications systems that facilitate encoding, transmitting, and decoding messages. Also, according to Schaff, Martin, and Gay of 2001, also says that it is a human-to-human communication using network computer environments to facilitate interaction. So, scholars like Metz, Walter, and Borgon, and Schaff et al. Define that CMC, or computer mediated communication, as a channel for business or social interaction where people create, send, and understand messages through network computer system. Now let's define why computer mediated communication. So, it promotes self-discipline and requires to take more responsibility or their own learning. Also, using CMC, instructors can vary a course's instruction designed to include everything from structured projects to open projects in which are free to work on problem solving. Next, it promotes an equalization of users because CMC is at present primarily text only. The consequence reduction in social cues. It leads to a productive ignorance surrounding a person's social roles, rank, and status. Further, it is impossible to know if another person took several hours to draft a one-screen response or several minutes. It's also computer-mediated technology tools that are useful in promoting collaborative learning activities that mediate communication between learners. Furthermore, asynchronous discussions allow students in groups to collaborate with each other in an exchange of opinions, experiences, and interpretations of course content. So, in summary, CMC builds self-discipline, allows flexible course designs, reduces status bias since it's often text-only, and supports collaborative or asynchronous learning where students share ideas over time. Next, we have the advantages and versus disadvantages of CMC, or computer mediated communication. Now, let's tackle the advantages of CMC. First, it breaks down geographical barriers to communication, enabling collaboration through communication over distance. Second, people can exchange, store, edit, broadcast, and copy in a written document. They can send data and messages instantaneously, easily at low cost, at very long over long distance. Third, messages can be sent to groups of any sizes and can be programmed. Lastly, few status and position cues. Software of electronic is blind with respect to the vertical hierarchy in social relationships and organizations. So, CMC, it removes distance barriers, allows fast and cheap sharing of documents, supports messaging to large groups, and reduces status cues so people interact more equally. Now let's tackle about the disadvantages of CMC. First disadvantages is inhibitions related to computer technology use, problems with access to technology. Second, more time consuming. 3. Absence of regulating feedback, lack of social, emotional, and nonverbal cues, often referred to as cues filtered out. In face-to-face communication, head nods, eye contact, distance, tone of voice, and other nonverbal behavior gives speakers and listeners information they can use to regulate, modify, and control exchanges. Fourth, the lack of true human contact. Electronic communication tends to seem impersonal. Communicator must imagine their audience, for at a terminal it almost seems as though computer itself is the audience. And lastly, messages are depersonalized, inviting stronger and more uninhibited text and more assertiveness in return. So, it just it issues in these issues include limited access to tech. It can be time consuming, lack of nonverbal cues, impersonal feel, and messages can be more aggressive and depersonalized. So now let's tackle the two types of computer mediated communication. First is the asynchronous communication. It is the independent of real time and are comprised of activities such as viewing a web page, composing an electronic email or an email, watching video clip, or downloading file. It can include anything that is text-based, uses ICT as a technological base, and can be used for two transmission of ideas. There's an examples of CMC can include. First is the emails. Second is the mail bases. Third, shared network group folders. Fourth, discussion boards or the fora or forums. And lastly, frequently updated hyperlink web page. So the benefit of it includes the opportunities to think about course content and to adjust a diverse set of topics in more depth than can be done in a class or in an asynchronous environment, thus allowing the student to conceptualize a topic from multiple viewpoints and to contribute to each other's understanding. Asynchronous communication doesn't happen in real time like emails, discussion boards, mailboxes, and etc. It gives students time to think and respond in depth. Next is the synchronous communication. It is an activities that occur currently between two or more users, including such real-time applications as chat rooms or instant messaging, which allows user to interact simultaneously through text, audio, and video with the other users located anywhere in the world. Synchronous CMC includes chat, instant messaging. Also, it provides an opportunity to students who are more familiar with the technology to introduce some of the abbreviation and emoticons used in chat to their less experienced peers. It explains the procedure for participants. Example that comments or responses have to be done in a sequence. And last, it also imposes order on the discussion when required. The lecturer's role in the chat also includes that of moderator, whereas in face-to-face, one's authority can be underlined by raising one's voice. In chat, you can use uppercase to make your point more forcefully. Okay. Real-time communication like chat rooms and instant messaging, it was an example of it. Users interact simultaneously through text, audio, or video, and it allows for immediate feedback and moderation. It's about how you use this tool in online basing, and it's where an everyday sequence of us people, like we use chat in instant messaging like the app Messenger or Facebook. or the Instagram for a pattern of communication. Which CMC should we use? The major factor in selecting a CMC medium is should the communication can be used synchronous or asynchronous. This decision should be based on the following criteria. First is, can all participants meet at the same time? We should know that the participants should meet all of the time basis of all, or agreeing the time sequence of all. Is the activity time dependent? For example, is to fit in with the teaching program. If so, then a synchronous medium is the most appropriate. Third, are the participants part-time students or spread across time zones? So we should know that these participants met their time schedules and availability of their time if they were working part-times. Is the subject matter one which requires in-depth analysis and response? If so, asynchronous medium is the most appropriate. So choosing depends on timing. You should use synchronous if everyone can meet at once, or the activity is time dependent. And you can use asynchronous if the participants are in different time zones or need time for depth analysis. Next, we have the use of CMC. Educators often categorize the use of instructional CMC in three ways. First, for conferencing, second for informatics, and third for computer assisted instruction or CAI. Informatics, it is the repositories or maintainers of organized information, include library, online public access catalogs, interactive access to remote databases, program or data archive sites. Example is the archives of files for pictures, sounds, text, and movies. Campus-wide information systems, wired area information system, and information managers. Next, we have the CAI or the computer assisted instructions. It is refers to instruction or remediation presented on a computer. It improves instructions for students with disabilities because students receive immediate feedback and do not continue to practice the wrong skills. So, it is a lesson or remediation delivered by computer. CAI gives immediate feedback which helps students with disabilities avoid practicing mistakes. It helps the student with disabilities to understand well the lesson and also avoid making mistakes or committing a mistake or understanding a mistake from the lesson. So, next is the computer capture. Computers capture the students' attention because the program are interactive and engage the students' spirits of competitiveness to increase their scores. Also, a computer-assisted instructions moves at the student's pace and usually does not move ahead until they master the skills. In short, these interactive programs grab students' attention and motivate them through competition. Lessons move at the students' own pace and they only progress after mastering the skills. Next is the online discussions. It is the key feature of computer conferencing according to Murphy and Collins of 1997. Currently, both asynchronous and synchronous computer widely used in distance learning courses. So, this is a widely used in distance learning to support students' interaction and collaboration. And also, as of now, we students now in this generation also use the synchronous and asynchronous types of this online discussions ever since that they use this if it was a shortage of using of or the availability of classrooms, or there's a shorted terms of times, and also um, they also use this online discussion to save up time when there's a teacher or a students also a conflict about the time preferences. So this thank you for listening, and also thank you for attention. I hope that you have learned something from today's discussion.